bit of a punch in the face. People are going to hate this episode because people hate talking about money. But guess what? That we're going to do it anyway. Hey, welcome to another Business Beats episode. Quick take today. We're talking about money, M-O-N-E-Y. What is it? And all the context around that, where it started, and what we should do with it. I know it sounds a little bit redundant, doesn't it? But you'll be surprised the conjecture and the problems around money. Okay, so we're in 2023. Across the planet, there's been a change in economics off the back of a pandemic. Let's not talk about that. We don't talk about that anymore. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. So I thought talking about money today is pretty relevant in today's context and society. People are worried about it. Like, interest rates have gone up again. So every month there's a hike in interest rates, and it's really hurting people. So if you're overextended on your mortgages if you have more than one and other investment properties, and those are not positively geared, it's going to put pressure on you. We live on an economic planet. Long pause. We live on an economic planet. You need it. Money is critical. And here's the thing. Lots of people don't want to talk about it. In society, people don't want to talk about it. When I grew up, in my family, I grew up in quite a poor family in a small town, a farming community. And people hated talking about money. They didn't want to talk about it. I remember my father and my mother saying to me, save your money for a rainy day. That's the worst advice ever. And by the way, people who have scarcity around finance and money and economics, don't ever listen to them because they have no idea what they're talking about. They'll lead you down the wrong path, and then you're going to end up broke. So look, today's quick take episode is going to be it's a bit of a punch in the face. People are going to hate this episode because people hate talking about money. But guess what? Fuck that. We're going to do it anyway. So they say it's the root of all evil, right? And to a point it sort of is. Now, yeah, money doesn't make bad people. People are just innately bad, then they get money and then it amplifies that, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with money. Money is inert. Like, I've got $100 in my pocket right now. It's just sitting there, can't do anything. But if I pulled it out and I spent that money and bought 14 muffins and a cup of coffee, I'll get fat, yes. But also, I'm creating action and activity and flow, right? Economic flow. I give that to the cashier at the cafe that goes to the business owner. The business owner invests it back in his business to create more flow. That's not what money is. It's been around for a long time. The whole world is based on money and economics. Now, I'm not a guru. From the last time I researched, this is about $80 trillion in live circulation. 80 trillion. Now, guess what a trillion is? It's 1 million. There is not a shortage of money on this planet. There is not a shortage of money on this planet. So let's talk about how it works, right? Because I think even though it sounds like a stupid question, how does money work? Well, there's a lot of different verticals to it. It's very complicated. I think money can be quite psychological as well. I think it has a psychological connotation. That would be my take on it. I'm not going to talk too much about, Wall Street, EFT, shares, Bitcoin. By the way, we don't talk about Bitcoin in this office, obvious reasons. So the scarcity. Let's start there. People don't want to hear it. Great. I just know that people don't want to talk about money. You know why? Because they don't have any. And what it does is that creates a psychological insecurity, which we call scarcity. And they say things like this to themselves. Well, I don't need money to be happy. Well, that's ridiculous. Money is not about being happy. I know plenty of people that have no money who are miserable and plenty of people who have lots of money and who are miserable. But I'll tell you what, I'd rather be rich and miserable in business class than in economy. That's what I know. So it's not about that. It's not about scarcity. It's not about money is evil. It's not about I don't need money to be happy. That's bullshit. And people who talk like that, it's bullshit. Here's the thing, stepping outside of this a little bit, there's some context psychologically I think we need to understand about money. What happens through what I call intergenerational poverty, is that the parents who grew up in 1950 educate the children who grew up in 1970, who educate the children who grew up in 1990. Now what happens is there's a thread through all those years, right? There's 30 or 40 years of people creating families and generations, right? So what happens is they all learn and have the same belief system about money. Intergenerational poverty is people who are uneducated about money. So they're not learning new things in the market, right? So like for myself, I'm probably the only one in my family who got educated, college educated, which I paid for by myself, which really helped me, which cost money. So money's not evil. Money actually helped me progress through life, contribute to other things, provide money to charities, work with some great charities, employ people who have families and children to support. All of that ecosystem is all about economics and money. Okay, so if you cut the bullshit and get to the point, money is critical. We live on an economic planet. What don't you get about that? So scarcity, if you put that to one side. Okay, so save your money for a rainy day, Lawrence. Watch what you spend. Put that money in the bank. Putting money in the bank is the worst thing that you could do for money. And get 1% on it, 2% on it over, 10 years? That's ridiculous. Here's one thing that money wants. It wants you to move it out of your pocket, out of your bank account, and it wants you to put it somewhere that creates energy and creates more money. That's what you do with it. That's what you do with money. You've got to move it. It's a deal flow, right? You've got to move money through a flow. And what happens is when you do that, it tends to increase, right? It grows, right? So, I take $10 that I earn, I give it to someone, they turn it into 20, they give it to someone else who turns it into 100. And what happens is that's an element of contribution, and it helps people along that journey. That's what money does. That's how I see it. I think it's really simple. If you get rid of the bullshit scarcity mindset and psychology, money is great. Poor people cannot help other people. Not in this world. I know that's a bit harsh, and people are going to hate me saying that. That's okay, no harm, no foul. You can do that. But that's just my opinion. Now, I'm no guru, right? But my opinion is that some of the biggest charities and the biggest movements on the planet in terms of, helping people is being fueled by multi-billionaires. You know why? Because it takes money to make that change. Now, look, I get it. Some people will be sitting there and go, oh yeah, but what if I just help my neighbor? Well, then that's great. You should do that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about scalability. Helping your neighbor is great. It probably makes you feel great as well, right? So that's about you two. I'm talking about in terms of if you can really scale economics and money and make lots of it, you can help more people. That's my point. More money, you can help more people. And that's just the bottom line. There's no way around that, no matter what anyone says. The whole scarcity stuff around money is bullshit. And I think the sooner people get rid of it and start to open up and talk about money, what they want to earn, what they are earning, why they can't afford good education for their children, you need to talk about it, put it on the table. There's that old adage that, what's the number one thing that breaks up a marriage and a family? Do I even have to say it? Right? So it's because people don't want to talk about it. I know many people who hate talking about money. Again, it's because they don't have any. They don't know how to get it. They want it. They don't say they want it. They say things like I said earlier on this app, that they say things like, oh no, I don't need money to be happy. I'm just comfortable the way I am. Look, money won't help me. It'll change me in a way that I don't want. Well, that's bullshit. Money can change you for the better, and you can help more people. Just think about it like that. Saying that's just selfish. I think it is. Back to the core principles. You make the money, you move the money around, and it contributes to your local society, your local business community. You employ people. I think it's great. We're in this office here, we employ a lot of people, and they have children, they have families, they have mortgages. The business is sustainable because we create money, and then we can grow, employ, and contribute to more families and more people. And our community, we can give more away this year. We're looking to give away $250,000 and $500,000 worth of education programs to charities. And I think that's awesome. If I was broke, I could not do that, correct? Think about that. If I was broke or our company made no money, I could not do that. Just think about that for a little bit. Absorb that. I think that's important to understand. So, we're an 8-figure business, sort of 9-figure business over time. What if we could get to 250 million? Seriously, how many people could we help? Like, that's the driving force here behind the money, right? It's not because I want to go buy a Lamborghini or Ferrari. Well, I can't get my kids in that. Like, what's the point? But, you know, I think there's an element of being in the right position as well, looking at it through the right lens. We work with young businesses, young entrepreneurs, people looking to 10x, right? Move towards prosperity, whatever that may look like. And hey, by the way, that's what money is. It's prosperity. That's what people are chasing. It's not actually the money. So, you know, here's another way to look at it and break it down. If you want to support your family, okay, so you want to live in a nice home, like everyone does, right? You want to be able to have a choice. That's what money buys, is a choice. Really, if you looked at it like that, you should talk about it all the time, because we all want choices. We want the choice of what we do and when we do it. Like that. That's the epicenter, right? When you think about it. We all want choices. Money gives you choices. And it buys you things. Don't be scared of the asset, people. Like, seriously, if someone wants to drive a Ferrari, good on them. Go buy 2 of them. You know? Like, who cares? Everyone's going to be different. I think people judge people based on success. If you look at it like that, it's pretty simple. Pretty simple. So buy the nice car, aspire to do that, the nice house, you know, the business class holiday for 4 weeks every year. Imagine that'll do for your family. Bring your family closer together, spend quality time with each other. Health. You know, I'm not on a health fund, but, you know, I'm thankful and grateful enough to have the money to pay for my girl's health, right? You know, I've got a daughter who's type 1 diabetic. We're fortunate enough to be able to pay for that ailment for her for the rest of her life, right? You know what I mean? And that's what working hard, that's the result of that. The money gives you the outcome, right? Where you can have a good life. Anyway, so look, that old mindset of save your money for a rainy day, put it in the bank, don't do that. Make money. Don't be scared of making money. Talk about it to everybody, including your partner. You guys should talk about the family budget, put it on the table, and be honest about it. And then figure out how to improve it. Because when you do, everything gets better. Everything gets better. You know, and use that money and invest it. Invest it. Don't put it in the bank. If you put it in the bank, it's just a waste of time. You might as well just burn it. Don't do that. But, you know, it just sits there and it does nothing. It doesn't move. You know, and you can invest in anything you want. Invest it in yourself is probably the first thing that everyone should do. Actually, that's my first investment. That's what I did. The first $1,000 I made, I think it was in a sales job. Can't remember where, a long time ago. Like 200 years ago. I think I made like $2,500 in commissions in my first month. And the first thing I did is I bought myself a course. And a watch. It was a Seiko watch. But I bought myself a course and I bought myself a couple of books. And I did that course and read those books. And what happens is I started to multiply things out. You know what I mean? I started to get really good at what I did. So look, don't be scared of money. Don't listen to people who have scarcity around money. Be open about it, be honest about it, be transparent about it. Money is good. It can help lots of people. So maybe just stay focused on that. Remove the scarcity and invest it. Don't put it in the bank. Invest it. Use it and invest it. Whatever you want to do. And you're going to make some mistakes, so you're going to lose it. But guess what? Remember, there's $80 trillion in live circulation. So there's a lot of money out there. There is no shortage of money. So go get your fair share. That's what I say. Hey, if you like this video and this content and you thought that it'd help you, please click subscribe. We'd love for you to join our community. Thank you for joining.